I am Geoffrey Iron Fist in World of Tanks. I will show you two battles in the Italian TDs which I got recently. Here's an amazing looking team with amazing looking tanks with cool camouflage. So got these recently, so the Italian TDs were released recently. This is the Tier 7, the SMV-CC. Let's see, let's get the title on. CC, SMV-CC something or other. The Tier 7 TD still had at this point the first gun, so the stock gun. It's not the auto loader. So Tier 7, Tier 8, Tier 9 and Tier 10 have auto loaders, but this is just a fast firing sort of fast firing gun with low alpha, and it's okay. It will not pan as much as the bigger gun, but it has a similar DPM, so you don't lose much. It's still an okay gun.
Very good.
There's few tourists walking through the battlefield. They blocked my shot. Now this guy is an enemy tourist, so he can't even spot me here. So, oh no, he spotted me. Someone spotted me here, whoever it was. I was shooting out in the open before he could spot me. And another tourist has gone by and blocked my shot. So these were the best games. Oh, okay. This I wanted to shoot the guy behind him, but this guy turned up. So it is the Tier 7 counterpart, the Italian TD on the enemy side. There's no point in trying to shoot your counterparts. These TDs have very high armor, and the gun does not have enough pen, so you cannot shoot your counterpart. You have to try and shoot someone else. So here he was outside my spotting range, so he moved before I could spot him. And these were my two best games out of probably about 20, and these two tanks I'll show you. So this is the Tier 7, and then I'll show you a battle in the Vipera in the Tier 8 Premium. So the Tog is probably not a great player. He managed to pen me though. If he was a great player, he wouldn't have bought the Tog, unless he'd bought it for a laugh. And I found myself in a very good position here. Don't play heavy tanks so much, but this is a great position. This is perfect. I don't know how I ended up here. Don't want to leave. So only the tip of my turret is exposed, and it is impenetrable since I am top tier. So it's Tier 6, Tier 7 matchmaking. Okay, and I finished the mission. Already more than 2,000 damage. I guess the mission was to do 2,000 damage. TD mission of some sort. So it's fast firing. It doesn't have the auto loader, but I mean loads every 6 seconds anyway. Because the other guns with the auto loader take 6 seconds to load. The only downside is it doesn't have a lot of alpha, doesn't have a lot of pen. Yeah, I'm planning to as a heavy tank, more or less, but a kind of second line heavy tank, not a first line heavy tank. Not a breakthrough heavy tank. A little bit of a sniping heavy tank. And it worked. It can be okay in this role, the role of a heavy tank. Now we're flanking them. We're winning 9-3. So we've been holding them here with 2 or 3 tanks, but the other flank has been victorious, and so now we have a flank coming to help us out. I want to help this guy who's under pressure here. So my plan was to just get spotted to frighten the enemy TD. And got shot, lost some HP. Here on green. When I shot it went to red. That was a bit weird. And here, I thought it was like on green. I'm not really sure there. It could be, maybe not. Critical hit. I'm not sure if I was on green here, but anyway, these tanks are very hard to pen each other. You know, they have a lot of armor. So let's go over to the tier 8, the Vipera, in this, what is it called? The Steps map, is it? And this is a similar kind of heavily armored TD with an autoloader this time.
In this first ever intergalactic Wimbledon.
And it's even more heavily armored from the front, so it's very difficult to pen. And I have the tier 7 counterpart, you know, the tier 7 Italian TD coming with me. And looks like we're going to go to the you know, the east side. We could have gone to the west side, but I noticed we had several heavies going that way, so it wasn't too important to go to the heavy side. And I wanted to try out my luck in sniping. This was one of the first couple of battles in this tank. We have once again a tourist, an active spotter. He's spotting very actively, but he's probably having no backup. So, although he managed to pen me, that was weird. He penned me. If a light tank penned me. Maybe the armor is not all that great after all. I don't know. And I don't know what he was thinking. This light tank, he was crushed under the weight of behemoths here. So it looks like the heavy tank side is under pressure, but over here we're probably outnumbering the enemy. So I decided to go into the stream because that protects my lower hull, so I can't be shot in the lower hull. You know, kind of half hull down, but that's all that's needed because it's only the very low part of the hull that can be penned easily. Here probably I should be pushing, but I don't know who is sniping from the back, and so pushing would have been a little bit risky, especially as you know, I do have a turret, I guess, compared to other TDs. It has a turret, but it's somewhat slowly rotating turret, and a few times I just can't hit this guy. A few times, you know, I just couldn't turn, I couldn't rotate my tank fast enough. So after a few games, I've decided to put on both Italian TDs the clutch braking directive. Finally, that's called a hit. The clutch braking directive, which helps a little bit with the rotation of the hull and the rotation of the turret. I'm not sure actually about the rotation of the turret, but definitely the rotation of the hull. And don't know, maybe a good idea to also put the other directive for whatever it is. It's not directive. The equipment for rotation, whatever it is. He pulled away. I haven't done it yet. I was thinking about it. I have vents and optics in some kind. So we're pushing now on both sides. We kind of feel, you know, it looks like we may be winning. Got him. Might have also scored a blind shot, but scored the last killing shot as well. Now it looks like we're winning, but it was a very close battle, as you will see. Very hard fought from both teams, by both teams. So we're pushing this side. We have 4 tanks, and the other side is holding. So they've done really well on the other side, because I thought they were outnumbered at one point. There were 4 or 5 enemy tanks against 2. Okay, now there are 3 enemy tanks against 1. So chances are they're going to win the west. So can we win the east? That is the question. And the enemy has 2 light tanks. We lost ours, so that's a little bit annoying. Okay, 6-6. We're even. So whereas for some reason the video slowed down a little bit there. So the 50 TP has, what is it, 50, what is it, whatever, the Polish heavy tank has retreated a little bit wisely since that flank has been lost. There's a tier 7 TD on that side, Italian TD. And we're being flanked by this guy, and the tourist. And he thought he will try and harass the Swedish TD, but it didn't turn out so well for him. So the sort of so the sort of people who rush in this way because they see an enemy tank, they're probably not very experienced players, because there isn't just because you can only see one tank, it's not the only tank in the team. So I went forward here to give a little bit of cover to the Swedish TD, because he was being shot from every side by several enemy tanks. So I suppose the enemy has 2 or 3 TDs somewhere hiding in this area, and the 2 enemy light tanks have been lit. One is close to our base, the other one at the moment hiding. I'm aiming in his general direction. We're 8-8, so still even. There's a battle of 53 TPs on the other side, and a tier 7 Italian tank destroyer is going to help our 53 TP. The IS and the STR VS1, the Swedish TD, are going to defend the base. Not a bad decision, but they left me alone. We lost the SPG, presumably had been spotted by the enemy AMX, the light tank, and it didn't have 6th sense, so it was shot, killed. And okay, so he's within rendering range, that AMX, so can I shoot him? Indeed I can.
Nice to do business with you.
Dead. The other AMX has spotted me, and he's penning me every time. He's not bouncing at all.
Let me go back in there and face the power.
Wow. So he's shooting APCR, but it's a light tank, and it's a tier lower. And it's amazing. He can pen me with APCR. Of course, only causing 100 damage per shot. But yeah, 8 of those will be 800 damage. It's nothing to sniff at. Luckily, I shot him, I snapped him, killed him. And the enemy still has 5 tanks. 3 have been spotted. There is a tank destroyer, a E-25, a tank destroyer, and then we also hunting for the enemy SPG, which has been shooting from somewhere at the back, not surprisingly. So at this point, I feel that if there was an enemy TD close by, I would have been spotted already. And so that means there isn't one close by. So it's a risk, but I thought I will try and reposition so I have potentially a shot at the T-25 tank destroyer. Well, first we need to spot it. Okay, so I'm going to go up on the hill and take that position that lots of people like. The VS1 has come back. We have defended our base successfully. So what do I think about these TDs? They're different. They're interesting because they're different. They're a little bit like breakthrough TDs, but not quite. They can be pinned and they can be flanked. It's nice to have a turret, of course. It's better than the T-28 or something like that. Yeah, the autoloader can be good or bad. If you get caught out, it could be a problem. They're kind of different. It's not probably the tank I would play a lot of the time. Okay, I think probably have a shot here. I've got him.
Very good indeed.
But
Quite outstanding.
I felt, first of all, as a TD, you know, like maybe some of you as well will be more comfortable playing a TD because you're not in the heat of the action, and so you can, you know, you can kind of be calm when you're playing, and that means you get used to the auto-loading kind of thinking. You know, if you have an auto-loader, you think differently. And because also a little bit like a heavy tank, you kind of play a little bit like a heavy, like a hold down heavy. So in those two respects, it's like, you know, it's like helping me to think like a heavy tank player with an auto-loader at times, at least when I'm top tier, as is the case in this battle. And so I think we could probably win it if we can kill this cockroach. Okay, it's a great tank. Very interesting tank. One of the more interesting tank destroyers, the E-25. Okay, so we got the E-25. The only thing that's left of the enemy team is the SPG, which has just fired. And so we have Victory in the back. Yes, he is here. And can I sneak in a shot before he reloads? That is the question. Got it. I bounced. That's ridiculous. I hit his gun. Bounced. Okay. Got it. Alright. I didn't have the results for the previous battle. I hadn't saved them. But I have the results for this one. And yeah, I did okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't too bad. So third class and various badges, finished various missions. So overall I was happy. Mastery badge, 3rd class, fighter badge, sharpshooter, master gunner, duelist, and fire perfect, and high caliber. Surprisingly, 4 kills, and yeah, usual story. Near the top of the team. Doesn't always happen. I mean, sometimes I get caught out in the first minute and I'm dead with 0 damage. So, but then there's no point showing those battles. Yeah. So this is the Vipera or Vipera. Kind of a fun tank. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of niche tank. If you want to play something different, it's a different sort of tank destroyer. So, thank you for watching.